It's truly an honor to welcome you all at 61 Whitehall, and even more special to do so as we celebrate 10 years of the Center for Finance and Security at RUSI. We are gathered here not only to exchange ideas on today's pressing challenges, but also to celebrate a milestone. 10 years of our research program, hosted by the world's oldest and UK's leading defense and security think tank. In 2014, the Centre was just an idea that financial crime was more than just a regulatory issue, that finance was a tool in the hands of both good and bad actors, and that security threats, from terrorism to kleptocracy, had a financial dimension that needed to be understood and addressed. That idea, thanks to the hard work of many in this room, has grown into a leading research institution at the intersection of finance and security. Before we begin today's discussions, I want to take a moment to reflect on how we got here, what we have built together, and where we are headed. If this center has a funding story, it begins with Tom Keating, who, over a decade ago, took a leap of faith and made this vision a reality. As many of you know, Tom's background in banking gave him a unique perspective on the security risks within the financial system. He saw what many had not yet articulated, that illicit finance is not just an economic problem. It is a security problem, a geopolitical problem, a problem that can undermine democracy and the rule of law. And thanks to his leadership, tireless advocacy, and determination, CFS was born. And not just born, but shaped into an institution that is both independent and influential, pragmatic, yet bold. Tom, we are deeply grateful for your vision and your work in building what CFS is today. And let's give him a big round of applause for everything he has done. Now, looking back on the past 10 years, it feels a bit like watching one of those fast-paced documentary films. One moment we were just starting out, and the next we were briefing parliamentarians, analyzing Russia sanctions, and getting quoted in newspapers. It's been a ride. In 2014, we were just getting started. With a small but determined team, we set out to prove that financial crime was more than a compliance issue. It was a matter of global security. Back then, some people politely nodded at the idea. Today, they invite us to testify in front of governments. We call that progress. 2016 was the year of Panama Papers, and suddenly offshore finance was no longer an abstract issue. It was front-page news. We found ourselves advising journalists and explaining shell companies and trying to keep a straight face when people ask, wait, isn't this illegal? And then 2018 was the year we officially went global. testifying before Congress, the European Parliament, the UK committees. That was also the year we learned that policy hearings involve more paperwork than filling taxes. Then 2020. It was a special year for me as I joined CFS and had the incredible opportunity to spearhead the Brussels office, our bridge into the heart of EU financial security policy making. Let me tell you, setting up shop in a new city in the middle of a global pandemic was not small feat. There were logistical headaches and remote meetings that felt like they would never end. But through it all, one thing was clear. If we wanted to shape the conversation on illicit finance in Europe, we had to be there. And so we are. 2023 was a defining year for CFS. And for me personally, we started supporting the resilience and integrity of the financial system in Ukraine as a commitment to standing with Ukraine in its fight for independence and stability. The war isn't just being fought on the battlefield. It's being fought in financial systems, in sanctions regimes, in the networks that fuel corruption and sustain aggression. Nothing about illicit finance is theoretical there. It's real, urgent, and deeply personal. We are proud to play even a small role in that effort, and we will not stop until justice prevails, not just for Ukraine, but for all who believe in the power of financial integrity as a force for security and peace. And among many projects we have implemented in Ukraine, we also reach out to Ukrainian youth. We toured Ukrainian cities to raise awareness and to encourage them to pursue a career in financial crime. And then we invited the brightest to Kiev for a red teaming exercise, a competition. And guess what? Two of them are here with us, Ustym and Lyubomir. Guys, where are you? Those two gentlemen here, they came from Kiev, not an easy travel to get here. So please make sure that you have time to chat with them during coffee breaks. They are really looking forward to learn your experience and get to know better you and to be exposed to your knowledge. And there are two more people I want to acknowledge, even younger than Ustym and Lyubomir, namely Tom and Marine, students, high school students from Newcastle upon Tyne, who are interested in financial crime, so that they decided to jump into a train. The ride is only 4 hours to be here with us to discuss financial crime. And I will be the first person to approach you during the coffee break as a mother of a teenager who has a mother fighting financial crime and who really start to our Sunday breakfast by saying, "Oh, have you seen a new video by Andrew Tate? It's so cool." So guys, chapeau bas. Over the years, we've built research networks and shaped sanctions policies and trained regulators, and perhaps most impressively, somehow managed to tackle off all acronyms in the field and add some of our own: CRAFT, SIFMANET, SMERF, tariff. And we have done all this while staying true to one core mission: to make financial crime security research not only relevant, but unavoidable. This work, this impact, doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of a group of brilliant, relentless, and dedicated people, including our current and former employees and our cohort of associate fellows, who bring their expertise, energy, and let's be honest, patience, to this mission every day. So, if you are part of this remarkable group, please stand up and make yourself visible. I'm gonna shout out to my colleagues, Alison, Arzu is here, Bushra, Chandana, Eliza, Gonzalo, Irina, Catherine, Kirsten, Michelle, Oksana, Rob, Vlada, and Wojtek. Let's give them the round of applause they so truly deserve. So what's in the store for today? Well, if you came here expecting an easy ride, I have bad news. The conversation ahead are going to be challenging, thought-provoking, and in true FinSec style, probably a little controversial. We will be looking at financial crime controls in an era where fraudsters are basically running their own tech startups, and unfortunately, they seem to be better at innovation than most banks. We will tackle sanctions, what works, what doesn't, and how to make them more effective without turning compliance teams into sleep-deprived detectives. We will dive into the future of illicit finance. Spoiler alert, it involves AI, virtual assets, which means we are going to need a lot more coffee to focus during this panel discussion. And of course, the most pressing question we will address today, how do we confront the financial dimension of state threats? We are living in an era where hostile states weaponize finance, using money to corrupt institutions, undermine democracies, and fund aggressions. Our panel on state threats will dive into these challenges, asking the question, how do we ensure that financial system works to defend security rather than being exploited to destabilize it? It's a packed agenda, and I encourage you to jump into the discussions, challenge assumptions, and, if nothing else, leave with at least one good story to tell your colleagues. Thank you all for being here, for being part of this journey, and for shaping the next 10 years of finance and security. And finally, before we get started, let me introduce you to someone who will kick off today's discussion in style, our keynote speaker, Oliver Bollow. Now, if you don't know Oliver, you've either never read about offshore finance or you've somehow avoided the existential despair that comes with learning how much dirty money flows through the global system. His book, Moneyland, is basically Lonely Planet Guide to Kleptocracy, except instead of nice hotels, you get shell companies, luxury real estate, and a masterclass in how to move stolen billions with zero consequences. And Butler to the World holds up a mirror for the UK, in case one was needed, and we cannot wait to see his new book coming soon. Oliver, we can't wait to hear what you've got for us. Over to you.